With so many exotics to choose from, there's always fresh builds to make, and with them, some that are whack and some that are wild. So today, let's talk about Briarbinds. With the release of Renegades came a slew of exotic armor and weapon changes, including one to Briarbinds. While it was probably the most minor adjustment out of all the Warlock exotics, it felt like the perfect opportunity to return to an exotic that's long been a personal favorite of mine. What I didn't quite expect, however, was just how noticeable these changes would be, and how well Briarbinds would pair with some of the new weapons and armor sets. If you're unfamiliar with Briarbinds, the way they work is when using Child of the Old Gods, your Void Souls have increased duration, deal escalating damage on kills, and you can pick them up to be redeployed. The changes with Renegades decrease the amount of kills it takes for the soul to deal their max damage from 6 to 4, and increases their maximum damage over time by 30%. These aren't exactly the flashiest sounding changes, but by increasing its overall maximum damage as well as how quickly that occurs, Briarbinds hits noticeably harder, and as a result brings with it a lot of extra utility. Due to changes made during Ash and Iron to include summons as grenades, you can not only further increase the damage of your Void Souls through the grenade stat, but you can also use them to activate grenade-specific fragments, perks, and armor mods. By constantly redeploying your souls, you can essentially take advantage of 100% uptime with these synergies, unlike traditional grenades that rely on a cooldown. Souls will also retain their kill-based damage bonuses when they're being redeployed, so the longer you can maintain those souls out on the field, the more effect they'll have. Paired alongside Child of the Old Gods class generation from killing siphon targets, it's really easy to get more than one soul rolling, and when you've got 2 or even 3 of them maxed out at once, things can get pretty crazy. With Feed the Void, your souls will also activate Devour as well as help to increase your grenade generation, giving you another option to clear crowds or gain extra utility through suppressor grenades. To push things even further, if you wanted to go full ability spam, you could use Echo of Provision to generate melee energy from your Void Souls, with Firepower and Ashes to Assets to crank your super generation. There's so many different ways you could go about working with Briarbinds, and so many benefits that Void Souls can offer with their newfound grenade utility. Void in itself has a lot of versatility with its excellent survivability through Devour and fantastic utility through debuffs, but due to its self-sufficient nature, it also opens up a lot of weapon variety. With Devour working from any final blows, you don't have to worry about synergizing your elements if you don't want to, but Void also offers some fantastic elemental perks that make it well worth the effort if you do. With Briarbinds being such a fun, well-rounded, and effective package, it's always been an exotic that I've come back to, and one that feels almost evergreen in its possible combinations. While it's pretty hard for me to pin down my favorite way to run it, most of my subclass choices are consistent when I do. So we'll start there, and I can give you some specifics, and I can talk about a few of my go-to combos afterwards. For aspects, I of course went with Child of the Old Gods to work with Briarbinds, alongside Feed the Void to activate Devour and improve its effects. Child of the Old Gods has some different benefits depending on if you're using a Healing or Empowering Rift, with Healing Rift siphoning ability energy and Empowering Rift siphoning health. Since I had Devour going for my survivability, I always go with an Empowering Rift, plus the rifts themselves now grant ability and ammo generation alongside their damage boost. For my fragments, I went with Echo of Instability to activate volatile rounds from any Void Soul kills, as well as Echo of Expulsion to cause chain reactions against those volatile enemies. Since Void Soul weakens enemies in its radius, not only will those big explosive chains wipe out a bunch of targets, but it'll also synergize with Echo of Harvest to generate orbs of power. Finally, I went with Echo of Persistence to increase my Devour timer and help to keep myself healthy. For armor mods, the ones that I used across my builds were Ashes to Assets for extra super generation, Firepower to generate orbs through my Void Soul, and Powerful Attraction to scoop them up anytime I summon a new soul. For the armor set, Thriving Survivor is absolutely incredible, as the 4-piece grants a bonus to both weapon and grenade stats on rapid kills with primary ammo or heat weapons. Both stats are increased by 40 points, which over 100 nets you a 25.6% increase to grenade damage and a 5.9% increase to weapon damage. The 2-piece also grants stability and reload or vent speed bonuses, making this a great all-round choice. In my opinion, this is hands down one of the best armor set bonuses available, and it works perfectly with Briarbinds no matter what weapons you want to go with. For the artifact mods, Void Infestation is fantastic, as when you defeat a weakened target, it'll spawn a tracking projectile that weakens another nearby enemy. This is great alongside Void Soul, as it can help to spread weakening to targets outside of the soul's radius, and it can also help generate orbs through Echo of Harvest. Singularity Blade is great if you're using a sword or a glaive, as it'll not only weaken targets when you first melee them, but cause weakening bursts on kill. If you aren't using a melee weapon, I would probably still recommend using this, as there isn't much else available in the column, and it can sometimes help with regular melees, although it's rather situational. Same goes for Power from Pain. While it is situational, it does have a few cool uses. So the first weapon I want to highlight is Compact Defender, which is a Void sidearm and one of the new heat weapons. It rolls with a bunch of fantastic perks, including Repulsor Brace if you're looking to get overshields in, but I've been loving the combo of Cooling Baubles and Desperate Measures. With the amount of orbs and breaches this build generates through Echo of Harvest and Firepower, it's really easy to take advantage of Cooling Baubles to almost completely avoid reloading. After you empty a clip and clear out the crowd around your soul, when you go in to redeploy it, you'll be grabbing those orbs to help vent Compact and getting yourself ready for the next tango. You'll also get that vent whenever you pick up orbs through Powerful Attraction, so whether you're standing your ground deploying fresh souls or moving in to redeploy your active ones, you'll always be able to take advantage of Cooling Baubles. Desperate Measures is probably the perfect damage perk for Briarbinds. As I mentioned, kills with Void Souls will count as grenades to help get you stacks, and it makes it really easy to stay maxed out. When you're at 3 stacks, Desperate Measures is a 30% damage buff, which is one of the higher ones available, and since it can be refreshed from any kills, it's the perfect perk for this build to stay slaying out. Overall, Compact might be my favorite of all of the heat weapons, as it feels really great to shoot, and it hits extremely hard, especially when you've got everything rolling. By timing the vent, you can activate Dynamic Heat Limiter to put out an insane amount of shots, and when you've got those volatile rounds, ×3 Desperate Measures, and the weaken from Void Soul, you'll be absolutely eviscerating enemies. Since I had my exotic slot still open while using this, I went with Leviathan's Breath alongside it to get me some range, good boss damage, and an unstop stun. Since I was running an Empowering Rift, it was awesome to be able to set up a rift, stand in it while sending out a soul to weaken the target, and just let loose. While it's not the highest damage thing in the game, it is extremely consistent, reliable, and fun to use. The second weapon that I'd recommend if you have it is Collective Obligation. Out of every Void exotic I've tried Collective with, I personally think that Briarbinds is the best option. With Void Souls covering both volatile and weaken, it frees up your grenade to use suppressors, giving you access to all of the buffs you need for a full leech. With all the ability uptime and grenade regen that this build provides, you'll always have access to those debuffs whenever you need them, and when Collective gets rolling, it shreds like nothing else. If you're looking for a more medium to long range primary option, I'd say this is absolutely the way to go. Collective and Briarbinds, in my opinion, is one of the most fun combinations in the whole game, and for my money is probably the single most synergistic one. It's honestly what I would consider the perfect Void build, so if you have Collective, I could not recommend a single option higher. Finally, since it's a melee-focused season, another fantastic choice would be Vexcalibur. Vex on its own is a terrific weapon, but paired alongside artifact mods like Void Infestation and Singularity Blade, it's a beast right now. With the increased survivability through Vex's overshield and close quarters damage through its melee, as soon as you send out a Void Soul into a crowd, you can just chase it down, tear through anything in your way, and grab the soul to do it all again. I've had such a blast with Briarbinds so far this season, and for me, it's like a favorite meal. It's something I can always come back to time and time again and know that I'll enjoy. Maybe I'll season it a bit different here and there or have it with a new side dish, but every time I eat it, I'm reminded of why it holds a special place. It's an exotic that for me feels close to home in a way, that's natural or even comforting. If I ever boot up Destiny and I'm just looking to have a good time, Briarbinds is the exotic that I turn to. While the changes made to it in Renegades were small, they feel extremely impactful, and paired alongside the summon changes, Briarbinds now feels better than ever. I adore the heat weapons, and I think that alongside them, the thriving Survivor set is the perfect fit to complement Briarbinds and vice versa. This build is a fantastic example of just how beneficial some of the recent additions to the sandbox have been, and how much fun things like stats, armor sets, and new weapon archetypes can bring to build crafting. For me, Briarbinds is nothing short of an all-timer, and one that I know I'll never stop coming back to. It's unique, it's versatile, it's extremely fun, and in my opinion, it's absolutely wild. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. There's a dim link down below if you want to give this exact build a try, or if you want to use it as the base for your own spin on it. Subscribe to the channel to keep an eye out for more videos soon, and let me know in the comments what you think of Briarbinds.